part of who he is, but it's not who he is. It might just be like something that makes a dog a bit more special. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Stephanie and I share my life in this channel with my two gorgeous rescue boys. One is a senior Staffordshire Bull Terrier cross and the other one is a deaf Wadi dog from Oman. And this video is a very special one because we are celebrating National Deaf Dog Awareness Week. Since this year I'm a deafy owner myself and I never really thought about rescuing a deaf dog. It never really did cross my mind because I basically never really met a deaf dog before. Or at least I didn't know I was meeting a deaf dog before. So for me this is a very special day and I just thought I would share with you some of the perks of having a deaf dog and why I would do it over and over again. So spoiler alert, I love my deafy and he is amazing and I would do it over and over again. So if you have the option of considering adopting a deaf dog or getting a deaf dog in your house, there's a few things I would advise you to read up to or like get in touch with other people, get a support network of people who you can ask, of people who can help you to remove some of these fears. Some breeds are more prone to deafness and it can be a bit scary, I'm not lying, and it can be quite a big step, I think, if the mind is playing some games with you because you just simply don't know what to expect. And to be totally honest with you, I probably wouldn't have taken on the challenge if I wouldn't have had an amazing senior rescue dog already who is trained, who is very reliable, who's very social, who's very chill, and I knew that he would be an amazing dog to help the little one get some orientation. I'm filming this video a bit of the time ahead, so we are 2 months into the journey with our deafy and it's been actually quite straightforward. So at the beginning, and I filmed the video about this, I had a lot of thoughts, I had a bit of worries, what to expect, what to do. So I filmed a video about how I'm preparing myself to be a deafy owner, like the first time deaf dog owner. And we're in, as I said, 2 months. So when I'm filming this video, I film it a bit ahead of time and it hasn't been anyone scary. So one of the main, well, not maybe the main advice, but it came quite often, was to get my dog a vibrating collar so I could get his attention when he is out and about, followed by the advice to not let my dog off leash, which makes a lot of sense for loads of dogs because they can't hear, obviously, so having them in the streets off leash is a big no-go, and I totally agree. However, Chalkie is a Wadi dog, they're quite independent dog. He is off leash. I'm not using an e-collar or like a vibrating collar. Sorry, there's a difference, but I'm not using any of these. He is terrified of people. He is complete and utterly terrified of strangers. Dog people are kind of okay-ish. Still, no one is allowed to touch him except us. He's very cuddly. But yeah, dog people are okay, so he doesn't mind them because he loves dogs. But I have him off leash, and what I did is I was working a lot on our bond, so I made sure our bond is very strong, and then I tested him off leash, and obviously spaces where I know he's safe, so I'm not having him off leash in completely new spaces where I can't really check if he would come back or he would just get too terrified or whatever. So it's only like our local parks where we go to every time and where I know he's safe being in that park, right? So he's up there and we practiced recall, and it definitely took a leap of faith at the beginning. However, I think it was the best thing I could do. He learned to check in with me, so we practiced come right from the beginning. We practiced sit, we practiced lay down, which he learned in puppy school, but also mainly checking in. So I want his attention, and I made sure I always have high value treats. He's very food driven, which is a big plus for a street dog, a former street dog. So he's off leash, and whenever he came back, we were throwing like a big party, big celebrations, of clapping hands, thumbs up, which he knows is like sign for a good boy. But also we have a procedure, so he learns to be on leash all the time too. So I want a dog, obviously, who is okay to be on leash because it's just safer for him. So I have him on leash. A lot of times I have him like sit, and then I have him like just hand, which means yeah, playtime, you're allowed to play, and then he can go. But then he also comes back and we have a sit and get a treat or like a big celebration. However, I discovered with my dog, as mentioned before, that he's very scared of strangers. And I completely get when you don't want to get your deaf dog off leash, and I think it's very responsible. Our dog, I would like my dog, he is way better off leash in safe environments. Obviously, the way to the park and out of the park, I will have him on leash. However, he is way better if he can just like move out of the way and is not restrained, if that makes any sense. By now, he's completely okay. He's chilling next to me. The door is closed. He's in a smaller room. However, usually everything that restrains him makes him really, really nervous, and I don't want to add on to his anxiety. So yeah, this we were working on. This was one of my biggest fears, that I would have a dog who would never be allowed or able to be off leash. But I also have obviously my other dog with me, and I know that's very curious, so I kind of like have an eye on him all the time. I'm like eagle-eye mom, right? Like I'm like literally checking whatever I can see, so I can spot it before him. So yeah, this we're doing. Then one thing about deaf dogs, like having deaf dogs around, or having one deaf dog in my case around, is they can get started quite easily, right? Like especially at the beginning, he was not used to our movement. So as I said, he's very scared of strangers. So sometimes if I have like a hat on or like a jumper, hoodie on over my head because it's raining or whatever reason, he got really scared at the beginning. Not startling him was a big thing at the beginning, but we're 2 months in. This boy was terrified of everything. He was terrified of blankets, he was terrified of duvets, and by now he loves being snuggled in. He like snuggled up, tucked in. He loves having put a blanket over himself when he sleeps. I can touch him at any time. He just enjoys touch now. If I wake him up, and I wake him up with my gentle touch, so I usually have him let like a sniff, like so he just can like sense that I'm here. But yeah, usually he wouldn't even like, he's very trusting, so he wouldn't even flinch, I guess, if I wake him up. I always the same way, so I always put a hand on his shoulder and wake him. So this is going well. Yeah, generally he's just like amazing. It's interesting how well he can communicate. I think actually, and there's something I read up on, that it's actually probably either the same or easier to train a deaf dog than to train a hearing dog. And I would agree. Sometimes, again, like I said, if he's off leash, this might take a leap of faith. But apart from this, I think he indeed is quite easy to train. He's full of beans, he's full of energy, he's very curious, he's very smart, and it's just a blast to teach him. He doesn't do high five. I don't know, it's weird. For some reason he doesn't want to give the paw, like, I don't know, we will figure this one out. But yeah, he's an absolute pleasure to have him around. Then I already mentioned this, he's a proper I didn't know this, but they're called Velcro dogs. It's like these dogs who are basically always on your side. So he is quite clingy actually. So I'm working on this, that he might not get like separation anxiety, especially with me, because he's with me like literally all the time. Like he's always on my side. I can't even have a shower without him like checking on me. So yeah, this is something we're working on. But yeah, he's an amazing dog already. I have him for 2 months in my life, and I would do it every time again. Getting a deaf dog was such a great thing. One thing though I would, and this is, I'm currently getting one, I'm getting him like a new collar that says deaf dog. It's quite funny because apparently lots of people don't believe you when you say your dog is deaf, and they still try to call him or don't believe you or ask you, well, how do you know? Like, oh, my dog is out deaf too if their dog doesn't listen. Like, yeah, I'm not just saying this as a joke, right? Like, but yeah, like the funniest thing actually I think is because I obviously call him like with hand signals, right? And he's quite far away sometimes because he's like, there's like sprinter kind of dog, so he runs and runs. And if he's like really far away, and be like, they're like, you know, like standing there like an idiot in the park, and if he comes, I'm like, yay, thumbs up, and sometimes clapping, and you know, throwing a party. And I have so many people who are waving back at me or giving me a thumbs up too, and it's actually quite cute. So yeah, I would definitely get him like a deaf dog kind of like collar, because yeah, just so people know, like, also because I'm not calling him, because I mean there's no point in me calling his name. I talk to him obviously like all the time. Also I say sit if I give him the command, but I'm not calling him long distance because there's no point. So yeah, for this reason I would give him get him like this collar. Already picked one, so people just know I'm not like being rude or whatever. But yeah, so this is a funny side, I think, of having a deaf dog. But yeah, apart from this, I think it's not really different, at least not for me, very different to having a hearing dog. Every dog is anyways very special, very, has their own unique personality. And when it comes to the scare, being scared of strangers, it's apparently quite normal for Wadi dogs that they're quite wary of strangers, a lot of them, due to their past. So there's also not really something that is very different. I mean, it's quite challenging, to be honest. It's quite challenging because lacking voice, obviously you can't call him to calm him down. And my other dog, the hearing one, is very easily to be regulated or calmed down or hyped up, etc. via voice, which is you're lacking. But I would say all over, having a deaf dog it might just be something that makes a dog a bit more special. He is his own personality. He is his own kind of self. First of all, he's a gorgeous boy. This is the first thing about him. Then secondly, he is a rescue dog, so he comes with a past. He's a sighthound, so one who likes to stretch his legs. So these are three things I have to keep in mind. I have to adjust because I'm obviously more a bully person until now, or a very different dog. The deafness to me is more it's part of who he is, but it's not. He is a deaf dog first and foremost. To me, it's part of who he is, but it's not who he is, if that makes sense. So this does not define my dog. It just defines sometimes the way we have to treat him, that we have to communicate differently. But having said that, I also even use the hand signals for my hearing dog. I've trained my hearing dog on hand signals too, and I think it's a good idea to generally do this, because even if a dog loses hearing in age. For me, I just thought Deaf Dog Awareness Week, I would do my very own really short experience report, and I can just say I would do it over and over again. And one of the very big benefits is also that fireworks are not an issue. He sleeps very deeply. He's just very, very cute. He's a bit loud, yes, especially his bark is very loud because he can't hear himself. And the funniest thing is if he plays with squeaky toys, because obviously he cannot hear a squeaky toy, but he loves to chew them, preferably early mornings. Would I do it again? 100%. So yeah, I just hope that on this Deaf Dogs Awareness Week, you might open up your heart to the possibility of having a deaf dog, or if you don't have a deaf dog yourself, then maybe talk to someone who has, because I think it will remove a lot of stigma. To me, I love my Deafy. I'm a very proud deaf dog owner, and deaf dogs do rock. So thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Bye. By the way, I just said deaf dogs do rock. It's kind of like an insider, so if you never have heard about Deaf Dogs Rock, it's an amazing source for deaf dog owners, for people who may be thinking about getting a deaf dog, or fostering a deaf dog, or adopting a deaf dog, or whatever. Just want to learn about deaf dogs. Deaf Dogs Rock is an amazing source, so go check them out. Thank you, and bye-bye.